Hello, I'm Kyle Pounds, and this is what I think about the unified field theory. The unified field theory is the holy grail of science, what nobody has found yet. That's what Einstein originally was looking for. How do you explain gravity? How does gravity go into quantum physics? I think some people have, with what is it, M theory, tried to explain it, and that has to do with, the out of the strings, out of our quarks, electrons and protons and neutrons come gravitrons, which are maybe repercussions, echoes, explosions, if you will, of higher dimensional energies crashing into each other and creating the sound of the graviton coming out. Sends it out into space constantly, and you would suck two things together by the graviton traveling, working the same way as a electron does, traveling along an actual path of a certain frequency of that which it's traveling from, and back and forth communicating and sucking them together. It's the best I can do about that. But somebody, or all the people, are looking for a 1-inch long equation to explain everything together. So I made one. I'm not a mathematician, so it's not mathematically based. It's just hippie based, baby. So here it is. L equals mi squared. That's the new theory. That's the new equation. Now I'll explain to you what it is. Now, if you're going to look for the unified field theory, you're going to want to answer all the questions in one equation. You're going to want to explain matter and energy in one equation, and all of it. You don't want to explain all of it. The most, up to the highest vibration, highest frequency energy, which is us, which is our soul. It should be revolved around that. So, basically, big question is, what is it all about? Life. Life is what everything revolves around. You know that all what the Christians believe, everything revolved around us. The sun revolved around us, around the earth. Earth revolves around us. Well, yeah. Everything revolves around the human soul. And other animal souls too, but human soul. So, on the highest dimensional, and that's the highest frequency. How does that work? Well, let's continue. L, life, equals M. Now, M stands for the matrix. Matrix is that pathway of which everything moves in space. According to string theory, there are gigantic bubbles, if I'm getting it right, membranes. Now, these bubbles and membranes are created by everything with mass that shoots it outwardly in the form of gravitons, constantly, off into space, and it reacts with everything out in space. And, I just totally lost my train of thought. Matrix, oh yeah, what is the matrix? So that is what the matrix is. All these gravitons coming out. But there are different dimensions. All of these bubbles, these membranes, of which there are an infinite number of them in all directions. So it's kind of like a grid surrounding us. Depending on what dimension you are in, vibrate a different vibration, different wavelength. So if a wavelength matches up, then you're in the same world as that other. But if the wavelength is different, then none of those physical laws, whereas the physical laws may work amongst themselves the same as here, but they don't react with us at all. So according to that theory, as far as I can tell, is there could be another solar system, three-dimensional, just like us, right where we are, another planet, except it doesn't react with us. Maybe it had the same beginning, so maybe it's very similar, almost identical to us, but only very slightly different. So, like, maybe I exist in another dimension. Maybe it's not my soul, but maybe it's me. Or maybe it is my soul, but another expression of my soul. And I did something else in my life. But if you believe that, then you'd have to believe that there's an infinite number of those different vibrations, depending on the different wavelength or maybe even shape of the wavelength. So not only does the universe spread out forever and there's an infinite amount of stars with planets, there's also an infinite amount of dimensions right here, worlds right here where we are that we can't see. And along with that, I don't really know about that, but along with that, maybe there are also other dimensions where we are, different wavelengths that can watch us and do watch us and came out of us and then graduated onto that next wavelength. That is what I tend to believe. There's a natural progression among the line of the realms and the wavelengths, which get tighter and tighter, more higher frequency. Because as you get more energized, you need higher frequency. I don't know. But anyways, so that's the matrix. And how does gravity work in that? Well, and light and everything. Well, light works the same way as anything on this world works. Very simple to understand. It's just units of protons shooting through the sky. But electrons and I would say gravitons work a little bit differently. They work actually within the matrix. And if they work within the matrix, and you twang, a certain wavelength here, all you have to do is you could basically teleport. Time doesn't exist when you're in the higher dimensional matrix, because of the wavelength, whereas time would exist for the particle of light that travels across. Gravity, that would mean that gravity would that mean that gravity is instantaneous? I don't know. But let me finish my my equation. Life equals the matrix times intention squared. Intention. That basically is us and what we want to do within the matrix. That's what life is. It's the matrix times intention squared. It's us, our souls, life. It's us doing whatever we want within that matrix. Depending on what we are. And then we adjust to the vibration of what we think we are. And then so if we want to change the vibration, all I have to do is change that. It's very hard to conceptualize and even harder to explain, but I think a good way to explain it, and I think anybody who wants to come up with unified field theory is going to also explain the uncertainty principle, which is the uncertainty of Heisenberg invented it, of what exactly is the difference between a particle and a wave. Like is light a particle or a wave? Photons are particles, and that's light, so light's a particle. But light moves in a wave, and And so all those photons traveling along that wave would make the wave just as real as the particles. And